Good morning, guys. Welcome to our last week of our foundations. I'm sad again we can't be together, but I'm glad we made it this far. I'm glad we're able to do this still. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna pray, and then we'll get started with our new grammar. Right? So, dear God, thank you so much for another day of life that you have given us. Please, Lord, just open our minds today to grasp all this new information that we're learning. Let us just have a great day together. And I pray that you will just continue to keep each of us healthy. And we just ask all of these in your son's name. Amen. All right, guys. So we normally begin with timeline, but if you remember, we finished our timeline off last week. And this week, we're going to focus on all of our presidents in the United States. So we have 45 of them. I'm not going to do any hand motions because that's a lot, but I do have the board I made with each of their pictures, and then Cece has a really neat song that helps you memorize them. So first I'll go ahead and I'll read each of the names, and then we'll listen to it with the song. All right, so we have George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Harrison, John Tyler, James Polk, Zachary Taylor, Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, James Buchanan, Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield. We have Chester Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, Grover Cleveland again. We have William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Warren Harding, Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon B. Johnson. We have Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, James Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, William Clinton, or Bill Clinton as we know him as, George Bush, Barack Obama, and then the 45th, which is President Donald Trump. Alright, so thankfully the song only goes by the last names. So I'm going to go ahead and play the song while I point to them and sing through it, okay?
Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe. Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, and Taylor. Fillmore, Pierce, Buchanan, and Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, and Hayes. Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley. Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, and Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. It's for him we pray.
Alright, good job, guys. So I know that's a lot. Just keep listening to the song and hopefully you get them all down. Alright, let's move on into our math. Go ahead and move this out the way. Alright, so our math this week, we have the identity law for addition and multiplication. So the identity law for addition states A plus 0 equals A. The identity law for multiplication states A times 1 equals A. Let's move on into English. This week we're learning what an interjection is. Right, so I'm going to first say the definition and then we'll sing a little tune to it, okay? Right, so an interjection is a word or phrase used as a strong expression of feeling or emotion. And I am doing it to the tune of Zippity Doo Dah. Or yeah, Zippity Doo Day. Right, so an interjection is a word or phrase used used as a strong expression of feeling or emotion and interjection. Good job, guys. Okay, let's move on into history. And if you remember, it's to tell me about the end of apartheid. And if you remember last week on our timeline, apartheid was part of the timeline. So I'm gonna read it and show you the motions, and then we'll play our song for it. So in 1994, South African President de Klerk allowed free elections. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president, demonstrating apartheid was ending. Alright, so we're going to start with 1994. We're going to go 9 and then 4. And then for South African, we're just going to do S for South and then A for African, President de Klerk. We're going to hold up a D. And then he allowed free elections, so we're just going to make a check mark. Free elections. And then Nelson Mandela, we're just going to hold up our sign language for N. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. So we're just going to do president like you're being sworn in. The first black president demonstrating apartheid was ending. So just like in our timeline motions, we're going to do demonstrating that apartheid was ending. Right, and when we play our song, it's going to start with demonstrating apartheid was ending. So we'll do those motions first. All right, let me start it.
Week 24. Tell me about the end of apartheid. In 1994, South African President de Klerk allowed free elections. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president, demonstrating apartheid was ending.
Demonstrating apartheid was ending. Demonstrating apartheid was ending. In 1994, South African President de Klerk allowed free elections. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. Demonstrating apartheid was ending. In 1994, South African President de Klerk allowed free elections. Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. Demonstrating apartheid was ending. Demonstrating apartheid was ending. Demonstrating apartheid was ending.
Good job, guys. Someone had a nice little drum beat to it. Alright, so let's move on into science. This week we're going to talk about what units are used to measure electricity. Okay. So we'll say units that are used to measure electricity are ohms measure resistance, volts measure voltage, amps measure current, and watts measure power. So we have a few motions. For ohms, we're going to make our O. Ohms measure resistance, like you're trying to pull your hands apart. Resistance. We're going to do V for volts. Volts measure voltage. Kind of looks like a lightning bolt. And then we're going to do amps, so A's. Amps measure current. And our last one, watts measure power. So we're going to do our W. And then watts measure power. We're going to have like a light switch turning on with a light bulb. So watts measure power. Good job, guys. Let's go on to our Latin. So it's again our first conjugation endings, future perfect tense. So it's ero, eris, erit, erimis, eritis, erint. First conjugation, future perfect tense. Okay. And then let's go on into our geography. Actually, I think I did the wrong tune for Latin, sorry. It's to tune a happy birthday. But let's go move on into geography, and we're gonna do Southern Africa. So Abby, if you wanna come closer to our map. I just highlighted just the countries that we're showing. So Southern Africa, we have South Africa, and then this little dot in there right there, that is Lesotho. So Lesotho. Then up right here is Botswana. Over here is Mozambique. And then back over here is Namibia. Alright, so I have a little song right here. We're going to do it too. He's got the whole world in his hands. Alright, so Southern Africa, South Africa, Lesotho, Botswana, Mozambique, Namibia, Southern Africa. Alright guys, and that's it for week 24 new grammar. I miss you guys. I hope you have a wonderful end to this year and hopefully we can get together soon. Alright, bye guys. Miss you.